just a cool. What's good, everybody? It's your brother Mad Black, the most dangerous and the most toxic black man on the internet. The brother who told you to stop doing all this conservative buck dancing, but you kept on doing it, and now you're literally using white drug addicts as an example for your fake ass point of view. And I am black up in your face again with some more pro-black commentary. So today, folks, I'm going to be talking once again about Anton Daniels, the milk dud with glasses that likes to pretend to be a black conservative in order to boost his profile on social media. You know, I've noticed that Anton Daniels is somebody that I'll give him credit enough to say that he has some intelligence. So he's realized that a good way for him to boost his profile and make money and to get into a lot of these conservative spaces is to come out here and buck dance and degrade black people, especially black Americans. So Anton Daniels is one of these clowns that likes to keep pushing the narrative that, you know, black culture is bad and black culture is evil and just black culture this, black culture that, and black people are bad on his channel, right? Now, what's funny about that is that the fact that not only is Anton Daniels conservative, he's also one of these MAGA minstrels, so he supports Donald Trump. And Donald Trump has been fucking up and fucking over his constituents for the last few months, right? Ever since he got into the White House, he's been screwing over the people that voted for him. However, Anton Daniels does not want to talk about that, even though he was advocating for Donald Trump during the election. He did all he could to get Donald Trump into the White House, right? But, you know, every time Trump screws up, all Anton Daniels does is double down and start talking bad about black people. Like, you would think with all of the more important things that are going on in this country, you would want to focus on that and not focus on degrading black people. But when you're a paid bootlick, that's what you got to do, right? And I know he claims that he does like real estate and stuff like that, and that might be true. But if that was really your bread and butter, if that was really your main thing, you would focus more on that on social media and not degrading and attacking black people. So every so often, Anton Daniels will basically put on his superhero outfit and become Buckman to save white people on social media, especially, you know, saving white people from us mean old Negroes. And I called him out before when he was working with his partner, Charleston White, when they teamed up. They had a Marvel minstrel team up in order to save white people because, you know, all these minorities, especially black people, are taking over America and just making it so hard for white people out here. But now, you know, the Buckman has decided to put back on his costume, and, you know, the dark, or I should say the Buck Knight returns, right? And now he's got this white man coming out here and basically saying that black people are the most racist people here in America, right? So we're going to talk about this. I'm going to play some of the audio so you folks can hear it, okay? And you know, it's funny to me anytime I see any of these videos pop up online where you have a white person saying that black people are the most racist. It's always, you notice it's always a video of these white people talking and making these accusations. There's always a white person wanting you to take their word for it and basically doing, you know, what Tariq Nasheed says is the "I'm white and I say so," right? They never have any actual video evidence. They never have any type of proof that black people are being racist against them. It's just their word. They want you to take their word for it. And usually their word and their stories themselves are actually kind of shaky, so it's hard to take them seriously or believe them when they say this. But, you know, white people love to play the perpetual victim. You know, they live in victimhood in this country. Everyone's always against them. Everyone's always against the poor old white man, right? So they always like to make it seem as if someone is against them. And if they can point towards black people, that makes it even better, And, the opposite is true when you see black people. When black people talk about racial incidents, they usually have it on video. Now, I know that doesn't matter to white bigots and conservatives, and especially doesn't matter to these minstrels out here. But black people have evidence when they talk about the racial incidents that they deal with. Like if someone is discriminated against them, they usually have a video of it. If the cops are harassing them, they usually have a video of it, right? But you notice when it's the opposite, when it's these white people, it's always just take my word for it. And of course, the minstrels and Buckman himself, of course, he's going to believe what the white man says because that's what he does, and that's how he keeps getting money, and he's able to be on places like Fox News and whatnot, right? So let's listen to the video. And there's some things in here that's just hilarious to me as we're going to watch it, or as we're going to listen to it, because I don't want to play the video because this clown is ugly, and basically this white man in this video is probably not even fully white. I can tell by his facial features he's not 100% Caucasian, but he's going to play the European role for his little video here. So let's listen to what this white male has to say about how black people were just so racist to him. And I'm going to pull apart his nonsense, and then we'll hear a little bit of what the bearded milk dud with glasses has to say about white people suffering racism. So let's listen here.
It genuinely gives zero about your guys' feelings, and I will come on here and say all the uncomfortable truths that everybody knows is true, but absolutely nobody will talk about.
Now, already that's a lie. This whole nonsense, this is what conservatives do and what a lot of white bigots do and a lot of their minstrel brethren do. They always make it seem like as if they're just standing out there and saying the truth that no one else will say, right? They always make it seem like they're just being so bold, as if this type of rhetoric has never existed before. Like they're the first person to ever think of, well, I'm going to accuse black people of racism. White people have been doing that since the end of slavery. All you got to do is look at the movie Birth of a Nation and see how white people all the way back then started playing victim, because in that movie they literally had a white person in blackface pretending to be a black soldier from the Union Army running around trying to rape white women, and the white women had to kill themselves in order to keep their honor. And the Ku Klux Klan, of all people, had to ride in and save white people from these mean old black people who are taking advantage. That was the narrative back then. Okay, so this whole idea that black people are the most dangerous and black people are the evil ones, that goes all the way back to the end of slavery, or even really before slavery, because they had to demonize us in a different way then to justify our servitude, right, and being subjugated by them. So this is nothing new. But, white people always like to make it sound like they're the originators of something. So, of course, he's saying this is something new that I thought up all on my own, and this is why I'm bringing it to you now. So let's rewind it a little bit, and let's hear what he has to say about the racism of these black people.
It's true, but absolutely nobody will talk about. Black people are the most racist individuals that there is in 2025. As a white person, I certainly can't go to a black community and feel safe. But when they come to white communities, it's like they're in Disneyland. I used to be an addict, so every time I'd go down to Newark, I would have to make sure I was strapped.
This white boy literally said that. Yes, you heard that right. He said, I used to be an addict, and every time I went down to Newark, New Jersey, to buy some drugs, I had to be strapped. So this is the criteria of which he is basing black racism. The way black people treated him when he came to the hood with a loaded gun looking to buy drugs. Now, why should black people be nice to this person who's coming to their community to buy drugs? Someone who is basically destroying their community with him buying drugs there, right? He comes there to buy drugs, and he has a gun on him, and he expects black people to treat him nice. And that's his criteria, and that's his judgment of how black people are treating him. That must mean they're racist. It doesn't mean that he's a piece of trash and a lowlife coming to the black community to buy drugs and tearing up the community with his nonsense, right? With his criminal behavior. But I guess black people were supposed to just welcome him in with open arms and hug him and kiss him and say, here's your crack, little Billy, right? Here's your methamphetamines, here's your heroin, and, pat him on the butt and send him on his way or whatever, right? So that's his criteria for why he's upset with black people, is because when he came to the black community to buy drugs, they did not treat him very nicely. But apparently, according to him, when black people come to the white community, it's like Disneyland for us, as if there's no videos out there of black people being harassed for doing their jobs in white communities, as if there's no such thing as a sundown town anymore. We've all seen the videos of black people getting attacked, which also goes back to my original statement that I said in this video, where I said anytime a black person is discriminated against, they have video evidence. These clowns right here, this white supremacist bigot clown talking about I was mistreated in Newark, doesn't even have any type of video evidence of it. He's just saying it and hoping that you go along with it. And Mr. Beard and Milk Dud, he's going to go along with it, of course. But let's listen some more to what this white boy has to say.
They have to feel the same way about going out in a white community. Matter of fact, they can come here and say whatever they want. They can call me white boy this, white boy that.
Calling you a white boy, actually stating what you are, is not racism. Okay, that's not racism. Now, I know white people have tried to redefine what the word is, and we're going to get into that in a few minutes. But, that's not racism, Chad, or whatever your name is. Someone calling you what you are is not racism. So let's listen some more to what he has to say.
And I'm just simply not going to comply with the double standard. I genuinely do not care one bit about your guys' feelings, and I'll tell you the truth. And the truth is, in 2025, white kids are being raised to be accepting individuals, and it's not the other way around. And everybody knows that.
Yeah. White kids are being raised to be so accepting. Nick Fuentes, he's so accepting of other races of people. All the white kids who harass and demonize black people and call black people the N-word on social media, on these video games, and on all over the internet, and on places like Reddit and 4chan, they've been raised to be so nice to black people, right? All the white kids that call black people monkeys, and they think it's funny to propose a prom date to a black girl by bringing her some fried chicken and watermelon. All those kids are raised to be so nice. Racism doesn't exist anymore in the white community. It somehow only exists when these white kids come to a black community trying to buy drugs, like this punk right here, right? But let's listen to what Anton has to say a little bit, because he agrees with this nonsense. So let's listen here.
Not the other way around, and everybody knows that.
And he's absolutely right. I gotta be objective. I gotta call a spade. And I think that there is some nuance here. So let's go ahead and get the pleasantries out of the way. Of course, there are some still racist white people. Of course, there are racist black people. Of course, there are some white people that raise their children to be a little bit more demonic. And of course, there are black people to raise their children to be a little bit more demonic. So nobody is a monolith. And when we talk about the majority, not the minority. So now that we got the pleasantries out of the way, let's ask ourselves this question. Is it the truth?
No.
Is it the truth, and why? And I think that the why is what we then explore after we evaluate if it's the truth. And from my perspective, as a black person that, understand that we have to be a part of the Democrat plantation. And
oh shit, here we go with the politics. So he can't even answer the question without getting into Democrat versus Republican, liberal versus conservative. More of this black conservative bullshit. Like I said, in order to keep him in the good graces of his white conservative masters and Fox News and all these other clowns that pay this Negro money to bullshit on social media. So, first of all, everything that this white boy said was bullshit. All right, the fact that you have a white drug addict who probably is still high by the way. He said he used to do drugs. That's bullshit in and of itself. I know he probably still gets high. Okay, he's probably high before he came up with this video. He's probably in his room. Oh, dude, I know what I'm going to talk about on TikTok. I'm going to talk about how these black people were mean to me when I went to go buy this stuff. I'll talk about it right after I finish this meth right here. That's what he did. Okay, right when he, after he finished off his meth crystals, that's when he decided to come out and make this stupid ass video talking about black people were mean to me and called me a white boy while I was buying drugs in the hood and I had a gun. Like what kind of nonsense is that? The fact that, like I said, Anton Daniels is smart enough and has enough sense, but the fact that he would actually make a video like this and agree with what this white boy is saying and put it like as the thumbnail saying that black people are the most racist is ridiculous. The fact that you got to reach like this, you got to find some random TikToker who's bullshitting, like to the point, it's almost to the point where I'm thinking like he's being made to do this. Like he didn't just randomly find this video, like whoever his white paymasters are say, hey Negro, you need to go out here and you need to react to this white boy and you need to agree with what he's saying in order to push this narrative that blacks are the most racist, which once again is nothing new. By the way, they've been pushing that nonsense since post-slavery, that black people are, once we free them, they're going to come out here and attack us and treat us so badly. And they've made laws based on that. That's where a lot of the drug laws came from. Because they say that black people, especially black males, if they get a hold of like marijuana or cocaine, that's going to make them hostile towards white people, and we're going to have to get special bullets to kill these black men. That was really real news articles back in the day. They literally said that yes, if black men get cocaine, we're going to have to get special bullets to kill them, and they're going to come after our white women and stuff. All this nonsense, right? So this is nothing new. This whole black people are the most racist or black people are the most dangerous thing, it's nonsense, all right? And the fact that you have these black conservatives out here pushing that, it just shows how big of buck dancers they truly are and how they're mostly just paid shills. And as far as accusing black people of being racist, let me say this, okay? White people know what the term racism actually means, okay? They invented the word, they gave it a real definition, but you've noticed over the last 40 years or so, and I blame not just white conservatives with this, I blame white liberals as well, is they've been trying to redefine what the term racism actually means, okay? And, you have a lot of these white liberals in their like sociology classes, and they teach this stuff to black liberals because you hear a lot of black liberals regurgitate a lot of this trash. They've tried to redefine what racism is. They've told you that racism is someone calling you a name, or racism is, when someone says something bad to you out in public or says something to you while you're in the classroom or whatever, right? A lot of stuff that is very superficial, and a lot of it is just nonsense. A lot of it could be considered bigotry at the most, but really a lot of it is just rudeness at the base level. Okay, so you have these liberals redefining what racism is, and you have a lot of these black liberals like repeating what their liberal masters taught them. And now you got even, white conservatives, they jumped on the bandwagon, right? So to that point, so now name calling is considered racist. So if you say something to one of these white devils who have been harassing you 24/7, or one of these white devils who gets online or on the radio or on TV and is being disparaging towards black people, and you call them what you want to call them, now they're going to say that you're being racist towards them, right? So that type of stuff is how they get away with trying to redefine what the word is. You even saw this white boy in this video talk about just the fact that you're calling him a white boy, you're calling him what he is, that is that's racist, which is nonsense. Okay? That's nonsense. That's not what racism is. And he knows that. He knows that for a fact. That's the one thing I will say about a lot of white people, no matter how, if they're young, old generation, new generation, they truly do know what racism is. And they know what white supremacy is. But they like to play these games because, what they want, I guess, is for you to get into an argument with them and trying to outdo each other and trying to define what racism is. Don't waste your time with that. I'm one of those people I actually used to waste my time with that, debating with some of these white bigots about what racism truly is. I don't do that anymore because to them it doesn't really matter. They know what racism is, but just to having you argue back and forth and try to argue the definition of it is that's almost a victory in and of itself. It's a time wasting activity. It's a deflection, and then you're not even arguing on the merits of what actually happened or the incident. You're just going back and forth about nonsense. So once again, white people know what racism is. Both white liberals and white conservatives have worked in the shadows to redefine what the word means and arguing with these devils about what the word is or what it means is irrelevant. Okay? Don't waste your time doing it. We know what it is. We know that they're the enemy. We know when they're doing things to try to destroy us. So there's no point in even trying to argue with them about that. You know what's going on. They know what's going on. And, I'm not going to sit around and be one of these dumb Negroes playing games with them, trying to debate them about their devilry. All right. I've already pointed out that they're in the wrong, and that's what it is. We don't need to go back and forth. And I've heard people tell me before that Anton, or at least his family, is not from the United States. So that's probably why he has that mentality. He is one of these Negroes who comes from another culture and is just raised in anti-black thought. So it was real easy for him to just jump on the conservative bandwagon and push a lot of this nonsense. And I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised at all. In fact, at this point, these types of people have made me sick to the point where I'm really waiting for, law enforcement and ICE to start deporting them as well. I'm starting to think that Black Americans, we need to start making some anonymous calls on a lot of these tethers and bootlicks out here who are out here trying to destroy Black society and always blaming us for their white supremacist masters. I want to see these bootlicks from these other cultures. I want to see how good they can talk about Black culture when they got to go back to a country that doesn't have Wi-Fi and only has a few hours of electricity. Okay, I want to see you talking about how Black culture is bad and fatherless homes when your ass can barely get on the internet. I want to see you go do it back in your own home community. Do that shit there, right? So I'm starting to get to the point where I think it's time we start calling ICE on some of these clowns as well and checking their background and seeing if they're truly citizens of the United States. Because I'm tired of their bootlicking and buck dancing, right? So, you folks can let me know how you feel about it in the comments section. I'd love to hear your opinions on this. Anyway, this is Mad Black, and I will be back with my foot on a devil's back.